Hello friends and family, welcome back to another one. So, you know the cool part about living where I live, which is in the South, the deep South, deep South, is that if you have any kind of desire for history, if you have any kind of, interest in history, it's a great place to live, needless to say. That goes without saying. And here in my hometown, there's actually a location which is right here where this bridge is. This is called the Pinhook Bridge over the Vermilion River, which you see right here that I'm standing next to. And there was actually a small, albeit important, battle that occurred here between some Union troops and Confederate troops. And it centers around two specific generals, a Union general and a Confederate general. And it happened right here where this bridge was. And, where the original bridge was, which was burned down, and that's part of the story. So, without further ado, I will jump right into it and we'll show you guys some different angles of it and kind of talk a little bit about it. I hope you enjoy it, and let's jump right in and see what we can get into. So I know it's kind of loud right here. I'm right next to traffic, but here's the historic plaque that goes right next to it that commemorates it, and it says the Battle of Pinhook Bridge, April 17th, 1863. Battle of Bayou Vermilion, October 9th, 1863. We honor the memory of those soldiers who valiantly fought on these banks. And here's the bridge right there. I'm going to walk down the bank a little bit where it's not quite as loud, and I'll tell you more about it. All right, guys, so here it is in all of its glory. And the whole story behind it, what happened back in 1863. It was the third in a series of three battles between Union General Nathaniel Prentice Banks and Confederate General Richard Taylor, who was actually the son of Zachary Taylor, the president. And so the backstory of it all, or a quick backstory of everything, is that Taylor's smaller army, he had a smaller army. He was the Confederate general, which basically originated or was focused out of the western part of Louisiana. That's where his army was kind of focused out of. And Nathaniel Banks had been kind of chasing him, kind of been in pursuit of Taylor and his army, kind of up the Bayou Teche, like basically essentially from south to north. And at the same time, Taylor's army, his Confederate army, was trying to slow down Nathaniel Banks's bigger army, because he was a Union guy, so those Union troops seem to be bigger a lot of the times. He was trying to slow him down because Nathaniel Banks, again, he's a Union general. He was in ultimate pursuit. His ultimate goal was to get to Fort Hudson, Louisiana. Or Port Hudson, Louisiana. And along the way, he was going to make a stop, or his immediate goal was to get to Alexandria, Louisiana, which is about 80 to 90 miles directly north of Lafayette. If you're looking at a map, if Louisiana is like a target, the bullseye would basically be where Alexandria is. It's dead center in the state, in Rapides Parish, dead center, huge parish, or a county for you guys who are not from Louisiana. And so whilst the Union troops were chasing the Confederate troops upriver on the Teche, the Confederate troops were in response also kind of in defense and trying to slow down the Union troops from getting north to pursue that, or in pursuit of Port Hudson. So Richard Taylor and his Confederate troops, they got to this site first. So we're standing on the southern bank of the river right now. So we're looking north basically right now. Essentially, we're actually looking like northeast, but like the Pinhook kind of twists and turns. But actually the way we're facing right now, like this would be like basically directly north, kind of going that way ultimately as the crow flies. But the Vermilion River, as you can see here in front of us, it's a pretty big river, and it twists and turns also. So anyway, so Taylor and his Confederate troops got here first, and they crossed what was like an old wooden rickety bridge going that way. So essentially going north-ish. They crossed going left to right as we're looking at it. They got to the bank over there, and then they end up burning the bridge that was here originally, an old wooden bridge. So Banks couldn't cross because it was basically the only way to get, if you're going through Lafayette, which is called Vermilionville at the time, which if you watch any of my other vlogs, you'll hear that, you'll know that. It was basically the only place to cross was that bridge, and anywhere near here in the vicinity of the area. So the battle ensued there. The skirmish happened basically around that, and it happened there because the Union troops were kind of stumped there. They were stopped there, and then Taylor's Confederate army was on the northern bank, and a little battle ensued over here. And although Taylor's Confederate army, they didn't ultimately win overall, they did slow down Banks. They slowed down his Union army in pursuit of Port Hudson and Alexandria and all that. And so sometimes you just, you win the battle, you don't win the war, but you win the battle. And sometimes you might not even win the overall battle or the overall objective, but you win in small pieces. And anybody who knows any military history or just in general in life, that's just kind of that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. So that happened right here. Old Civil War battle, 1863. About 117 years before I was even born. Right here. And who would have known? Pinhook Bridge and Pinhook Road in general is such a bustling road. I think as of the census, as of 2016, I think, the research I did, I think as of the 2016 census, it read that about 43,000 vehicles cross over this bridge every single day. That's a lot, Who would have known that those battles, that small battle, those three battles that happened right here over time, would happen at a place that would ultimately become Lafayette, Louisiana, which is like I said, it's a bustling metropolis. And standing right here and on this bank here is the old Hilton Hotel, huge hotel, right along this beautiful Vermilion River. And Banks was kind of, or I should say Taylor's Confederate army was sort of withdrawing up the test, away from Banks. So Banks was kind of chasing him, kind of after him. He was trying to get to him. And so Taylor's Confederate troops were kind of withdrawing, I guess you could say retreating to get better position, or retreating until they could get a better position, a better stance. So all three battles didn't happen here, but just that one did in April 1863. And this bridge here, the one you see here, this concrete one, was built in 1981. It's about 41, almost 42 years old. And you see those weights up there have those murals on it. Now, those murals, I'll see if I can get a closer look at them here. Let's see if I could zoom in for you guys. Those are painted by a famous local artist named Robert Dafford. And if you guys watch my Orphan Train Museum vlog, there's a big mural inside that museum that was painted by him, and I'll talk about him a little bit. And he's painted stuff internationally, like 5 different countries. Sorry if I'm kind of over zooming here. Sorry about that. And they're just kind of cultural, local, paintings. Of course, he didn't paint them on these weights. Those are like vinyl overlays or coverings that he put on there. Or not him, but he painted it, and then, a local imaging vinyl business here in town printed them out to put on the weights, on the bridge weights. As you can see here, it's very cultural to Lafayette. This one says Bienvenue à Lafayette. And the other one on the other side says Allons à Lafayette, which basically says, or translates to, let's go to Lafayette. And it's those are very pretty. They put those on there, I'd say about maybe six months ago, maybe not even that long ago. But they're beautiful though. Robert Dafford's a very talented painter and very cultural painter. And like I said, he's also painted stuff around the world in 4 different countries. And so let's go take a look around the area a little bit more. Let's go look down there. Yeah, here's a better view of the painting that's closest to us on the southern bank. And there's the other one, a little bit better, closer view of the one that's behind it, which is basically just tomatoes, celery, onions, bell peppers, and looks like cayenne peppers. Typical local Louisiana staples of food here, or that go into food here. So here's the other side of the bridge. I'm on the northern bank now, looking south. And see that painting right there says Allons à Lafayette, which means let's go to Lafayette. You can see the other painting behind it has some more cultural stuff to it, like guitars and music and all that, accordions. See if I got a better look at it for you. Sorry it's so loud right here with traffic. I'm literally standing right next to the traffic here. And here's looking at the Vermilion River. I'm dead center in the middle of the bridge. You can see how big this river is, so you're not going to cross this thing without a bridge, obviously, especially if it's high. It's very low right now. As you can see on the banks right there, it's very low. But we can see where that pavilion is, where that person's sitting over there. The water gets up to those a lot of the time. It'll get as high as those little, whatever you call those, little pavilion areas. So the water can get about 6 to 8 feet higher than what it is now. So here's a way less crazy spot. When I was up on the bridge, man, it was loud up there. Right now I'm standing on a little pavilion area that was built for a restaurant that's no longer in business. There's a couple different places over the years. It was a nice place too, when it was both places. And they opened up this little walk down area. You could look at everything. Same thing across the way there at the Hilton, they have the same things, little boardwalk, not boardwalk, but kind of pavilion areas. You can go down the water here, the pavilion, you can see. I call them pavilions, I don't even know, I feel like I'm supposed to call them something else. But you can see they're about a good 8 to 9 feet above the water. Now the water will get sometimes up to those. I've seen it where they're kind of, the water's over pouring or pouring over those pavilions. So you can imagine the water being that high, if the water was that high, and those troops, once they got across the bridge and burned it, you know, you could imagine how pretty much impossible it would be without a boat. You know, or unless people wanted to swim. But if you have troops waiting for you on the banks, you can't really necessarily swim across because you know, you're sitting ducks almost literally. You're getting shot at and all that. So it's almost, you know, you burn a bridge down, you kind of won that portion of the battle, as you can imagine. But Vermilion's beautiful, man. Beautiful river. It's the main artery of water that goes through the Lafayette area, not just specifically Lafayette, but the Lafayette area. Nice and calm today, calm and low. And mostly people with money have the houses that are on the Vermilion, like their backyards are on the Vermilion. Look, there's a couple of kayakers coming through. But there will be many, many videos that I make here in the area where I live, just in the Acadiana, Lafayette area, that are Civil War sites, you know, battle sites. And they're peppered around this area like you wouldn't believe. Tons of them. And right in our own backyard here. And it's hard to imagine here. Now it just seems like folklore almost, or something that's just like, you know, fairy tale kind of stuff. But to think that that stuff really happened, if you can kind of put yourself there, you know, mentally put yourself there and imagine that, man, there were, you know, on this left bank here were Union troops, Confederate Civil War Union troops, and across the way were Confederate Civil War troops on that bank right there, fighting each other right on this spot. There's some old kayakers here doing their thing. It's a beautiful day for it. See if I can get them to wave to me. Oh yeah, there you go. How you doing? And so yeah, I hope you enjoyed that, guys. Just a quick vlog, some pretty cool history here. I've been wanting to do this one for a while, just like a whole bunch of other videos that I have on the docket on my list to do. And that's the joy of doing this. I have a list of things I get to do, or that I want to do, and then when I get to do them, I jump to them and show them to you guys. So with that, from the muddy banks of the Vermilion River here in Lafayette, Louisiana, site of the Battle of Pinhook Bridge in April of 1863 between Union General Nathaniel Banks and Confederate General Richard Taylor, right on this spot right here. Burn that old bridge to the ground or into the water. And thanks you guys for watching. Thank you guys for watching, if I can speak proper English here. And thanks for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you thought that the video brought you some kind of value in any way. Feel free to stop by my Patreon page to make a donation to the channel. I'm in pursuit of a new camera right now, so any of the proceeds and money will go towards that. I'm not asking you guys for money by any means, but if you decide that you want to donate and support the channel, that's exactly what it's going to. Better camera, better vlogging, for sure. So I love you all. You have a great, wonderful day. I hope the weather is nice where you are as it is here, minus maybe the overcast. And you guys have a wonderful rest of the week, and I'll see you on the next one. And you guys keep being awesome. Bye-bye.